near side, dangles around the defender, shoots, big blocker save. And now we're going to get some fisticuffs thrown around here. We are back with another fresh episode of the Blizz Show podcast. Owen Bilal was on last week. The Canadian had a lot of fun talking to him. I can say the Canadian gave me the permission. But we are here today with the big dog himself, the 6'4" monster that I like to call him on the broadcast. That is Kendrick Frost. How are you doing today, big man?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. The Lee's Summit, Missouri born and raised kid. So Missouri is a absolutely awesome place. I have been to Kansas City a couple times. But before brought to you by our podcast is brought to you by our friends out at H&R Block. I like to jump the gun a little bit, but we got to pay some bills around here. So Thank you, H&R Block, for sponsoring this podcast. So growing up in Missouri, there's got to be a lot of things that you can do. You have the Kansas City Chiefs. You have the Kansas City Royals. Not a lot of hockey. I mean, there are the Kansas City Mavericks of the ECHL. Yeah. But just growing up in Missouri, kind of just before we get to the hockey side of things, what was it like as a young man just growing up in Missouri?
I had a great childhood. Very family-oriented person, so family was big to me. But most of my family is from St. Louis, actually. My mom and my dad are from St. Louis, so big Cardinals fan and Blues fan, but like the Chiefs. But other than that, Kansas City's been great. Love people there and have some great friendships that I'll have for a long time. You
mentioned it's about 10 minutes from Lee's Summit, so you've been able to kind of go there and just kind of experience what it's like. So what has it been? I mean, obviously it's a big city, and Lee's Summit's got to be a much smaller city. What's it like to be able to go to St. Louis or Kansas City, for that matter, just to be able to go experience what a big city is like?
Lee's Summit's not that small, so it's still kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but
Brookings size, would you say?
No, definitely bigger than Brookings. A lot bigger than Brookings. But it's fun to go into the city sometimes and see the city life and do stuff like that. But it's also fun, like being in a suburb, and I don't spend a lot of time outside of my house with my family. Okay. So other than that, I'm just with my family or some friends. But.
So to follow up from that, being a family-oriented guy, and you seem like that. That's the kind of instinct that I picked up when I first met you. You seem like you're really dedicated and committed to your family, which is really sometimes lost today in this day and age. So it's really great to see. Just kind of like, who's been the person that you have looked up to the most growing up? Who's been your biggest motivator off the ice?
Definitely my dad. He played Division I football at Missouri, so he definitely knows like what it takes to be at that level. So kind of looking at him, and he knows what to do, so just kind of learning from him and what he's done. And he has actually got hurt like right before he went to Mizzou, so he still had a scholarship there, so he went there and just was on the team. But I think just learning from him and what he didn't get to do, and I'm just trying to live not really through him, but like kind of do what he didn't get a chance to do. So.
Yeah, absolutely. What's been the biggest thing that he kind of has instructed in you or told you that just kind of sticks with you every day, something that makes you think of him?
Definitely like working hard every single day. When someone else is sleeping or someone else is eating, you're working in the gym or you're on the ice doing whatever. But definitely working, and definitely the less talented guys can work harder and be better than the talented guys at some points in their life. So just always working hard.
Good childhood growing up in Missouri. Nothing like it. I do have an interesting question in the rapid fire that does pertain to Kansas City and Missouri. I cannot wait to share that with him. So you grew up in Missouri. You spent some of your childhood there. Then you get into your junior hockey days.
Yeah.
You started playing junior hockey with the Omaha Lancers, one of the more prestigious places in the United States to play junior hockey, with the U16 and U18 North American Prospect Hockey League. What was that experience for you like, being able to go from Missouri to Nebraska? Not that far. You were able to stay relatively close to home. What was that like for you?
It was great. I had a great I was there for 3 years, so I had a great 3 years in Omaha and learned a lot about myself and about my game. So it was very interesting being away from home at 15 years old, so being away from my parents and my brother and all my family in Kansas City. But it was definitely a good experience for me and helped me grow as a person and a player.
What's the biggest thing you learned being on your own at the age of 15 by yourself? What's something that you were just like, wow, I'm really glad I went through this experience? What was that one thing for you?
Definitely just kind of with school and everything, being on your own and having to do your own stuff. It's definitely harder, but definitely with school and just having to be accountable with your work and what you're doing on the ice, and you kind of have to self-motivate. So, yeah.
The Omaha Lancers, one of the more interesting places to go play junior hockey, and you can definitely learn a lot. It seems like the coaching staff really implements a good system there. What were the head coaches like there, and what did they teach you about your game on the ice?
I played for Dave Wilkie in Omaha. He's coaching with the Lancers now in the USHL, so obviously he's a great coach, and I learned a lot from him, just learning. He's played pro for a really long time, so he knows what it takes, and definitely a hard-nosed guy, but he knows what he's talking about, so you kind of have to not necessarily, like, obviously he yelled and stuff like that, but you have to take the message and not necessarily what he's saying. Just take the message, and because there is a message in everything he was saying, so just kind of taking that and working on what he's saying. Is
similar to every coach. Similar to every coach, they have a message. What was his message to you that always sticks with you?
Just work hard, use my size and my speed my shot that I can have, and just work hard.
Yeah, you certainly do use your size and your shot to your advantage, that's for sure. So you move from Omaha to the Syracuse Junior Stars. Now that's all the way out in New York. That must have been the adjustment that you really felt like you needed to kind of grow as a young man and just kind of be, you mentioned family-oriented, but to be able to be away from your family at that age in Syracuse, what was that experience like?
I had a good year in Syracuse last year. Definitely learned about myself a lot, too, because we were on our own. We lived in apartments. With 5 other guys. So I did everything on my own, cooked, cleaned my room, whatever it is.
The fun adult life.
So, yeah, it was definitely a good experience for me. I definitely liked it a lot, just kind of being on your own. And we were all really close, so it was fun to just be with the guys 24/7.
You mentioned cooking is one of the things you had to do. Can you actually cook some things?
Yeah, I was pretty good at cooking.
What can you make?
Say. I actually did a lot on the grill last year, so I did steak, chicken, pasta, stuff like that.
What a healthy guy. You seem like you're in good shape, so you got to eat the healthy lifestyle. So this year with Brookings, you were selected in the second round of the North American Hockey League draft. You're coming from you go from Omaha to Syracuse to here. Now you come here to Brookings, where it's a much smaller town. You can really ingratiate yourself with the community. People know who you are. You're a name and you're recognizable. But before we get to the actual hockey side of things, being a second-round pick in the NHL draft is a pretty high honor to be selected in such a high part. Where were you when you got the news that you were drafted, and how did you find out?
I was actually in Mexico with my girlfriend's family. We were in Mexico on vacation.
Okay.
So I knew the draft was that week and stuff, so I had my phone on me, but I was in Mexico having a good time.
And obviously, I'm assuming your girlfriend was probably the first person you told, since she was right there.
Yeah.
What would since you talk about your dad, when you called and told him, what was his reaction?
I think it was more they were just proud of me and all that I've been through. I've been cut from teams. I've been scratched, stuff like that. So finally getting this level and being able to be a player on this team they were just proud of me, and they're also happier that I was closer to home, so they can come watch me.
What were your initial reactions when you first got to Brookings? The town, the hockey rink, the team. What were your first thoughts?
Well, I've heard a lot about it from Carter Krogman. He's one of my good friends. I play with him in Omaha, so heard a lot about it. It's definitely not as small as I thought. I thought it was going to be a lot smaller because he described it as something where there was nothing in the town. Which I think there's everything you need, obviously, but
it's a simple lifestyle, right?
Yeah, I like the town, and everybody seems really nice, and I have no complaints about it.
Off the ice, before we get onto the ice, what's it like when you're out in town and you're recognized? Because Owen has mentioned to me in the past podcast that when you walk around, people know who you are because it's a small town. You're recognizable. You're a face. What's running through your mind when people are recognizing you, and what does that do for you inside? Like, what's the feeling that's running through you?
It's a cool feeling. Just know that people are supporting you and coming to your games and recognizing you for the way you play the game, and I think it's really cool.
You mentioned your parents are relatively close to South Dakota. Have they gotten a chance to come up and watch you play yet?
Yeah, my mom's came one time last week or when we played Minot. So yeah.
What did she say about the place? About the rink?
She thought it was nice. She liked it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Biggest goals this year on the ice, obviously, to win a Robertson Cup. If it's not to win a Robertson Cup, we need to have a little bit of a different discussion.
Yeah.
But, for yourself, you're committed to college, which we'll get to in just a second, which is the honor because you're the first person on the podcast who is committed to the college. Anna Nucci and Andrews haven't been on yet.
Yeah.
So congratulations to you on your commit. We will get to that in just a second. But the biggest goals this year are what for you individually?
Honestly, just being better player, being better person, but obviously getting ready for college next year, and I'm supposed to go into college next year, so obviously just getting ready for that, and just working hard every single day to get better and to win.
What do you need to do individually on the ice to feel like you have had a personally satisfying and fulfilling time here in Brookings?
I think just help the team win. Obviously, whatever I can do, if it's score a goal, block a shot, whatever it is, I think I need to build on that and be the person that coach can look to he can trust with a minute left in the game where we need a goal or we can't give up a goal. I want to be that guy. So
well, you were that guy against Aberdeen in the preseason opener. You scored a beautiful goal in the preseason opener. So you definitely have proven that. When Mo is in the locker room talking to you guys, he probably says a lot of things that may not be suited for podcast airwaves, which is fine. That's okay.
Yeah.
But the more aside the jokes aside, what's been the most important thing that he's said to you that really just motivates you to be a better team player and a better player individually?
I would say just coming to the rink every single day and putting your work boots on and going to work. And obviously, we're with these guys every single day, so you have to kind of gel as a team and do everything as a team or things aren't going to work.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get to kind of the big thing that I really wanted to talk about with you specifically was the fact that you're going to the Army Academy, West Point Academy next year, which has to be has to be a supreme honor among all words you can think. Is honor the first word that comes to your mind with the fact that you're committed to Army this year?
Yes, of course. It's a huge honor to be able to represent my country every single day. And but yeah, it was a huge honor for me to be able to commit there and play hockey there too. So
before we get to the hockey side of it, is that something that you want to do further down the line? Is like look into possibly serving in the military one day?
Yeah. So the thing is, at Army, you go in and you go 4 years, obviously, just like any other college. But after that, you have to serve. I think it's 5 years in the military. But there's a lot of different jobs and stuff you can do. So it's not like I'm going to be on the front line every single day. Like, that's not what it is. Yeah. But yeah, there's a bunch of different jobs, and you basically just go on a base and you do a job, and you do that for 5 years or however long you want to do it, and that's about it.
Is there something that you want to do specifically when you get there? Is there something you've had in mind?
I've thought about it a little bit, but right now I really haven't made a decision yet.
And that's cool. You got a year. You're supposed to be enjoying the junior hockey lifestyle, which you're doing, so that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. But the hockey side of things, Army is a really good hockey program. So when you found out that Army was originally interested in you, what was that conversation like with the coach, with the athletic director? If you had a conversation with him, what was the initial process like for you?
Well, I started talking to them probably in the middle of the season last year, and then I went on a visit and loved the campus, loved everything about. It's a beautiful campus right along the river, so it's about 45 minutes from New York City, so that's good. But yeah, I think it was just a situation where it was all of the tradition and all the stuff like that going into the place, and being able to all the benefits and stuff you have after you graduate, and even the hockey side of it, just trying to build a family with your hockey friends and buddies or whatever. But yeah, just kind of growing in there, and they've actually never made the NCAA tournament hockey, so we're trying to do that and trying to be one of the first teams to do that. So it's definitely important.
Is the NHL an aspiration for you sometime down the road?
Yeah, of course. Everybody, I think if you're this age and you don't want to play in the NHL, you probably should stop playing because that's everybody's goal. Yeah. So, yeah, I would say that's definitely one of my goals, but
something after college that you wanted to pursue, obviously? Okay, that's good. Well, congratulations on the Army West Point commit. That is something you should be very proud of, and Mama and Papa Frost are obviously probably pretty proud, and everybody in the Frost family has to be really proud of your accomplishment. Support for the Blizz Show podcast brought to you by our friends out at H&R Block. I mentioned it off the top of the show. This is the beautiful part of the program. I love talking to you guys about H&R Block. Tax reform is going to be affecting everyone's next tax return. So if you don't want to be surprised at tax time next year, you got to go to H&R Block and you got to find out how it's going to affect you. Now, if you are in the Brookings or Watertown area, you can go visit Wayne at one of those two locations and be sure to tell him the voice of the Brookings Blizzard, that's Weston DeWitt, he sent you to get a 25% discount off of your first tax preparation. H&R Block is located at the University Mall here in Brookings. For more information, you can call 605-692-5715. Again, that's 605-692-5715. The beautiful part of the program that almost all the boys love here is the rapid fire segment. No more hockey talk. We kind of just like to have a little fun, a little bit of loose here after practice that Kendrick has had here. We are going to ask him 5 questions. First thing that comes to mind, he has not seen these questions. It has been made very clear that all these boys do not see these questions. They like to go right off the top of their heads. So the first one that I have been waiting to ask, I knew as soon as I found out the Missouri kid was going to be on the podcast, this question had to be asked. The Kansas City barbecue is something that I did not get when I went to Kansas City. Is it as good as advertised?
Yes.
Yes, simply yes. That has to be it's that good if it's a simple yes.
Yeah,
is it brisket, or what's the best meat to get along with the barbecue, would you say? For recommendations, because hopefully we'll be going to Missouri sooner than later, hopefully.
I think it depends where you go, but there's a place by my house called Jack Stack Barbecue.
And write that down.
They have very good, I think that's beef tips or something like that, but it's like little pieces of brisket or something like that. But it's delicious.
That's so good. I could use barbecue. I just had lunch about an hour ago, and I'm already getting hungry again. Which NHL team has the best uniforms in all the league? There has to be a thread that you just go, oh my gosh, that is so nice.
I like, obviously Vegas has a really nice uniforms.
That's true.
Like those, but also too, like Toronto and Tampa Bay too, with the simple just blue and white. My favorite color is blue, so I like those just simple blue and white uniforms too, so those are nice.
Says the man wearing the red sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Biggest superstition before the games is what? I'm always interested to get guys' takes on their superstitions, because we as hockey players, I played college hockey for 2 years.
Yeah.
I am as superstitious as a person as it gets.
Yeah.
What is your biggest superstition before you go on the ice?
I think it's just doing the same thing before games and everything.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you have a good game, you're going to do the same thing, but if you have a bad game, maybe change something up. But I'd say the biggest thing for me is after the national anthem or when I get on the ice, I do a little like turn, like cross my legs, and then like 3 taps on the ice. So I'd say that would be the biggest thing for me.
If you get introduced this weekend and you are on the ice, I need to make sure I watch that, and I'm going to point that out on the broadcast.
Yeah,
That's going to be really interesting. Who is and now we've been on the road a lot. We went to Minnesota, obviously. We went to Austin. We went to Aberdeen. We didn't stay overnight or anything, but we've gotten a little bit of a chance to see what the guys' apparel and the kind of what the apparel game is like on these guys. So who's the best dressed guy on this team?
Are we talking like game day or like every single day?
Probably game day. When they rock up with the suit, when they walk into the locker room, who's just like, oh, man, that guy can really wear a nice suit?
I would say there's a couple guys, but Gabe Walls, I don't know. He spends a lot of money on clothes. So
That's okay. That's a good thing.
I'd say he's probably one of them.
Yeah.
I like to think of myself, too. So.
And I was going to say, you can brag. If you want to brag, you can.
I like to think I dress pretty well. So
I dress well in the broadcast, people.
Yeah.
And he dresses well before the games. I'll say it for him instead. Yeah. Who plays Kendrick Frost in a movie? I asked Owen Bilal this. He said Mark Wahlberg. That dude is ripped, and Bilal needs to put on a couple of pounds. But, if he gets the pounds right, he could play it. So who plays Kendrick Frost in a movie?
Probably like Denzel Washington or something.
This guy is a monster. So on my Twitter bio, folks, it says Denzel is the GOAT. This guy just made my day. Denzel Washington, the greatest actor of all time. Oh, man, he just made me buckle back my knees. I love it. Best Denzel movie is what?
Remember the Titans.
You like Training Day?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you got to see that. You got to see Training Day. Most recent, The Equalizer 2. I still haven't seen that. Did you see it?
I haven't seen that.
I haven't either. Okay, we might need to go see that, actually. That'll be good. Kendrick Frost, a.k.a. the Denzel Washington. Yeah. That's what he's called on the broadcast. All right, thank you, Denzel. Appreciate it. Thanks, Kendrick. Appreciate you coming on the show, my man. And keep up the good work. And you should be really proud of the West Point commit. I'm going to say that again. Just make sure you go, tell your parents thank you every time you see them, because they obviously put a lot of work into it, and they're very proud of what you do. I haven't even met them, and I already know they're probably proud of you. So congratulations, buddy. Keep up the good success, okay? That's Kendrick Frost, the Lee Summit, Missouri product. Weston DeWitt, Kendrick Frost. We'll see you on the next edition of the Blizz Show podcast. We're gone.
See ya.